Hello guys and welcome to another episode of the Bae Sauce Show. Now I want to apologise first, not really apologise, I've been lacking on content quite a bit recently. But that is all about a change now. With lockdown season 2 approaching tomorrow, I mean by the time this video is uploaded, we'll already be in the second lockdown. So what I've done before that happens is I cleaned all my shed out, rearranged loads of stuff, put some new work benches in, and bought myself an engine. Me and Street Joe went and picked this up last night in Gillingham from a guy who was selling it. And yeah, it's an M52 B28, so it is, I think it might, no, it's not one of the, it's one of the newer models because it's got a plastic valve cover, which I hate. I kind of wanted the magnesium one. I really do like M50s. I think they kind of just look cooler as an engine. They're stronger because they've got the iron block, but like things like their manifolds, the inlet manifolds just look way better. The M52 ones are ugly. Basically what my plan is with this is slowly rebuild this over the winter, and then when it's ready, you know, chuck it in the car. I'm taking my time with it because I've already still got my car that the engine that I refreshed in that this time last year. So I haven't got any rush to get the car done and get it back on the road. Hopefully I'm going to have a lot of saucy content for you because I'm going to be doing a video of stripping down, rebuilding. I don't know if I'm going to rebuild it fully. Like I might this time take all the crankshaft out and pistons. I didn't do that last time on my M50. I do have a video of that. It's like an edit video with music to it, so I'll put a link for that in the description. It's not really anything to it, it's like 3 minutes long. It's pretty cool. It's all filmed in like black and white, you know, it's proper edgy shit. So yeah, that's sort of the introduction to the engine. On this episode, we're going to be looking at taking off like the ancillary bits and stripping most of the engine down. I'm going to do this sort of whole thing in a few bits because I'd quite like to actually get into a bit of detail with it because I find it quite interesting, the whole engine workings and sort of engineering side of things. This is only the second time I've done this, and the first time it went alright, so we'll see how it goes. Let's get into it, shall we? Not really going to be doing this in there's not really a specific order I'm going to follow. I'm just going to take bits off as I go, mainly starting with these seat belts that he put on here so we could transport the engine. So it's pretty good. This engine seems to, as I've been going over, it seems like it's been coming with a few things. He gave me a box full of like little extras, so I've got some gauges with this as well and a few of the sensors that go with them. Yeah, I mean there's this nasty braided line here, so that's not going to be going back on. There's a silicone hose for the fuel rail. I'm pretty sure it's just a breather though that then goes recirculates in back into the manifold. So don't really care about that. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is remove the viscous fan. Now that is held on by a 32mm nut there. So you're going to need a 32mm open end spanner to get to that one, and remember this thing is opposite thread, so to undo it you actually need to go clockwise. Sometimes when the car's in the engine, well at least on my one I can actually undo it. It depends when the last time it was taken off and how well it was put back on, I guess. You can do it just with the resistance of the auxiliary belt. This one it's not going to work, so what I need to do is get a little pry bar, screwdriver kind of thing, and wedge it like that. Wedge it to the bolts against the pulley on the water pump, and then get the 32mm spanner in there and undo it. When you're holding a screwdriver and a spanner, be careful with your fingers, because I just ran my fingertips, and then yeah, that spins off like that. And then you just put this somewhere safe. That feels like a pretty good fan, to be fair. The clutch feels pretty stiff on it. Okay, so what we need to do now then is remove this belt. Now it was a little bit different on my M50. I actually had it was like an Allen key thing you do, but you have the tensioner here. On this one, it's a 16mm socket, and basically what you do is put your ratchet on dewey uppy, put it on there, sort of like pointing down a bit, and you'll do this, and see that? It pulls in, and then you just need to... While we've still got the 16 to hand, we will undo the alternator. It's just two 16mm bolts there. At the back there is a 10mm and a 13mm nut holding the wires on. So yeah, behind there's this little cover that goes on here. Sorry if it's well dark. You pop that off like that, and then you have your 10 down there and a 13 there. Okay, so I have taken the alternator off. Now, as it's there, I think what we'll do is take the power steering assembly off. So we have the reservoir up here and the pump. The line is attached, so I might just leave those attached for now until it comes around to when I need to clean it. The power steering pump is just attached by 2 bolts here, which are 13s. Crank those bad boys off. Now, I'm going to take it off with the mount anyway, the reservoir. It's also a 13. As that is the lightest part of the two, I'm going to take this off first. Okay, so I have removed the pump and reservoir now, and just put it in a drip tray because there's still a little bit of power steering fluid left in there. Now, I did say there was only one 13mm bolt holding the reservoir in. There is actually 2. There's another one around the back of it. Yeah, it was kind of easy to work out because I undone it and it was still there, and I was like, oh, I looked around the back and there was another bolt. So that is there for you. What do I take off next? I think the tensioner will come off next. Okay, so that, by the looks of it, is 2 13mm bolts. Let's get the 13mm in check. It is. So obviously I'm saying it's 2. I've obviously lost your trust with the reservoir because I only said it was 1 last time, so I'm hoping this is 2, and I might be able to regain your trust on my knowledge of bolt placements and how many there are. Now, when you're doing this, rebuilding something like an engine, you might want to take pictures and note stuff down along the way. I don't need to because I'm filming the whole thing, so when it comes to putting it back together, I'm probably just going to watch this if I can't find bits that go thing. But hey, it gets my views up, I guess. So that is the tensioner off, quite simple as you can see. And then I didn't mention it, but as I'm going along, I'm just but putting the bolts back into where they came from. Some of them, the bolts will go back into the engine, some go back onto the part. Failing that, you might want to just put them in a bag or masking tape them up together and just write a little label on them. So yeah, that's going to the parts section. Okay, so the next thing we are going to take off is the inlet manifold. For now, I'm going to leave the throttle body on there, I think, just so I haven't got so many parts laying around all over the place. So, while the engine is still on its side, because once I've got the manifold off, I'll probably upright so it's standing up a bit straighter, so it's a bit more balanced now on the stand. While it was doing that and on its side, pointing down with the sump plug, I have taken it out just to drain any of the last oil out, because there is still a little bit in there. Obviously, when it comes to taking the oil pan off, loads of oil is going to come out, but it's better to have most of it out now. So, just come over to the fuel rail. So that's what needs to come off next. I just had a quick look at it. It's already loose because not only is it missing a bolt there, but it's also got what looks like one of the BMW screws that they use for just holding in, like, I don't even know. I don't even think that's really even in there. It's not really seeming to undo or anything. Yeah, no, that's sort of just wiggled and pulled out, just like some random hex head bolt. Okay, I mean, a hex head bolt does go in there, however, it's not going to the bin. It's not the right one. So this really should just then pry out, because obviously you have the injectors here. They're usually like wedged in there a bit, so it just takes a little bit of that. Oh, there we are. What we've got connected around here. Okay, so we've still got a fuel line connected. No, we haven't, because there's not a fuel filter on it, is it? Which reminds me, I've got an M52. Which the fuel filter usually runs underneath the car, but on the M50 it's better because it runs there. So if you're sort of lowered like me, it's better to have it there. So I'm going to actually need to remember that to get a fuel filter for it, an M50 one. Oh, this is going to make ordering stuff from Euro car parts a lot harder, having a different fucking engine in it. Okay, we've still got something connected underneath. What is it? Some sort of wiring. Oh, that's connected to the harness. That doesn't seem to unplug. Is that all going to have to... Okay, that might all just have to sit to one side together. That can go down there. So, what we're going to look at doing next is actually unbolting the manifold. So we have 7, that's right, 7 11mm nuts along here. Now, most of the stuff that is still connected to the manifold underneath, like the auto control valve, I don't know, I don't even know what that one is. That's not going to be running right, look at that. That's broken for sure. So, okay, what I was about to explain next is that this runs along here and connects into the valve cover, so we need to take that off. However, that was broken, so we are gonna not worry about that, and I'm hoping the rest of the stuff should come off. Oh, actually, yes, there's a mount here. Has a 10mm. That's not even connected right. Oh my god, what have I bought? Some sort of lemon. That's really weird. This doesn't look that right. Let's move all this wiring out of the way. Move. Now, usually that bolts up into there, but this manifold looks like it's been cut at here. Yeah, so there's marks. There's like disc cutting marks there, and then there's just this. What's this? What is this going on? Okay, I'm gonna have to look at bits when this goes back together, because there's usually another mount that comes off of, I think round, I'm not even aiming at my hand, round down here and connects into here. That's not the case. I think, to be fair, on the guy's eBay, he was selling an M50 like the manifold conversion, so I'm assuming this originally had an M51. He's bunged a leftover M52, because this throttle body's pretty mad rusty for like something that sits inside of an engine. Yeah, right, let's get this manifold off and see what it's like underneath. Oh my god. Okay, so we've got the manifold off now. It was just a case of lifting it up quite stiff. Lifting it up quite stiff? It was quite stiff to lift up. Now, I'm glad I am taking this engine apart now, because if we look in here, we can't really see anything because of the light. Hold on, let me get a better light. See that? That is water. Water? That's water in the inlet, like cylinder. In the cylinder, not the cylinder, the valve area. Now, when I picked the engine up, it was outside, so I don't think it is coolant or anything like that. I think it's literally probably just some water that's sat in there, or whatever. But still, it's kind of, should have just stroked the M50 really, shouldn't I? Let's put some tissue in there. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's just some rainwater. Yeah, it doesn't smell of anything. So, I don't know. It's all coming apart anyway. Well, I need to take off this weird, ugly arse braided line. It starts to get a little bit concerning when you keep finding stuff wrong with something, like, like an engine. Well, I don't know whether it's technically it's right. It's just stuff's not been done that nicely. So, I'm not that bothered because I was taking it apart anyway. And I'm kind of glad actually that I found these issues now rather than later. So, what we need to do now is remove the crankshaft sensor, which goes to the harmonic balancer. Now, what we're going to do is you get a 5mm Allen key and you remove it like that, right? Now, I've sprayed a bit of WD-40 on this to hopefully help penetrate it and help it make it a bit easier to get out. Because they can be quite stiff, and obviously with it being a sensor, they're quite expensive ones as well. And you only, if you do break these or they go wrong, you do really only want to get like BMW genuine ones, because the other ones are pretty bad. I've had them before. So you want to try twisting it out really, and just be gentle with it. Screwdriver and ram it in there. It is pretty stiff in there, so what I'm going to try and do is get a flat head there and just try and tap it to the side to help twist it a bit better. Okay, that was more mullering it than anything. This stuff is so delicate, I tell you. Okay, there we are. Like I say, you want to be very gentle and try and not lever against that as well. There we go, little gentle ones again. Tap, 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 tap. Cool, and then what this has got, which the M50 doesn't, is a little like guard here that the cable runs through. Now it's just got, I don't know whether they should have nuts on it or not. This one's got these little weird, these like C-clip things I hate. And they just need prying off. And then all we're going to need to do is just feed this wire back through. Okay, so what we're going to need to do now to get this out is we're going to want to remove this. I don't really know what it's for, because you know, it looks like something you'd hook it up with. I guess you could use it to hold a little bit. You wouldn't want to lift with that because it's attached to the head, and I feel like that'd break. So anyway, that needs to unbolt. So you've just got that one bolt there and one bolt there on this one, and then you've got to take the solenoid, I think it is, for the Vanos oil feedy thingy. That's just a 32mm. You can see it there. Bits. You undo that, and then once you undo that, there's another sensor behind there, down in there with a 5mm the camshaft sensor, I think that is actually. So yeah, I'm just going to undo those, and then we'll come back after. Okay, so I have removed all of that, got the sensors out, and I have labelled them up. So we have the cam sensor there, the crank one here. So the next thing I'm going to remove is this one. That's just a 22mm spanner on that. I don't actually know what that's for, but I'm going to document it in the video for, like I said earlier, when I come back to putting it back together. And I think that is all the sensors removed. Now all I need to do is just unbolt the like harnesses, I guess you'd call them, that are holding them in place, and then remove all the loom, and I will put that somewhere safe. Cool, so I did lie, behind there, I completely forgot, there's the two knock sensors. You have one here, and then another one here. I really shouldn't have got black gloves, should I? They're pretty hard to point stuff out because the lighting's not great in here. I need some more lights, but yeah, one there and one there. And then this will be ready to come off. I just need to cut the cable tie there, which connects into this, I think it's a coolant pipe. I don't know, the M50 doesn't have that there. It actually just has a solid, like a rubber one. This one's like metal, I don't know. Okay, so we have upright the block because, you know, everything's pretty much off and done with. What I'm going to do now is remove the thermostat housing, which is that 13mm bolt we undone earlier for the thingy, and then three 10mm bolts, I think they are, for that. Once I've undone that, I will then be taking off the water pump pulley, and then taking the water pump out as well. And then the next thing we'll be doing is taking off the valve cover and those. So I think this is a good example of why when you buy an engine it's quite good to take some of the bits off and check them over. So this is the thermostat housing. Usually it just has this rubber ring here, seal, and then it have another orange one in here. Obviously the guy, when he replaced this, didn't have that, so has literally just filled it with this sealer. I mean, it works, I guess, but it's pretty nasty. So yeah, usually that ring sits in there, it presses up against it, and then usually in here there's a groove. I think I have actually got a spare one of these kind of thing that sits in there. As you can see, that would sit in there, but this, he's just, or whoever's done it. So yeah, that's going to require a bit of cleaning, kind of annoying, but yeah, another thing. And it's also pretty damn rusty, and just, you don't want all this shit in your stuff, because it can all break off and go in there and block stuff up. I don't think it's as bad with the on the cooling side of things, on the coolant, but if you're doing that and it's getting into the actual like oil, you can block up things and just destroy your engine. So it's better to just use the seals, in my opinion at least. I could be wrong. So next thing we'll do is get the water pump pulley off, and then I'll show you how to remove a water pump. Once again, I think we have 10mm on here. Yes, we do. Case of just holding that. Sometimes they might be well tight. I think this is a fairly new one. I don't know whether sometimes you might be able to, I just thought this might work, is get the auxiliary belt, wrap it round it, and maybe put a cable tie there to help grip it or something. Make like a bit like the oil filter removal tools and that. So The water pumps are pretty easy to remove. What you need to do is you've got the 4 bolts. Mate, this ain't a new water pump. That was just a new water pump pulley. There's loads of corrosion and stuff around here. So yeah, these need to come off. Once you've undone those nuts, like you know, you can't pull this off. But yeah, there is 2 threaded holes, 1 either side. And what you're going to do is just get the bolts from the thermostat housing and just put those in there. Get a ridiculously long extension bar. You don't need it, but that's what I'm doing. And just start doing those up till you feel pressure on both of them. Because this is something you want to do kind of evenly. Okay, let's just... And basically, what's happening is you're putting the bolts through the threaded hole, and there's basically just a flat bit of metal behind it. And then what that's doing is helping walk the pump off. You should be able to see it. Yeah, but you want to do this bits at a time so it comes out nice and straight, and then you get to a certain point and you should be able to just pull it out. Hopefully maybe now. Oh, ooh! That was a close one. Yeah, wow, that definitely isn't a new, fuck's sake. Got me tools all covered in coolant, like... I should really catch something like that, shouldn't I? Bit bloody late now, so I'm just going to run out. It was just a new water pump pulley, I'm guessing then. Yeah, it looks pretty bad inside. Like, the coolant is clean. Doesn't look rusty at all. But, I mean, inside the head and the block, it all looks a little bit golden brown, just like the sun. Or whatever it is. Now, so... after all that mess, what we're going to be doing is taking the coil packs out. Forgot what they were called then. Pretty simple to do. All you need to do is grab these clips here and just you pull on up like that and then pull on out like that. But that's not it. And then you need to undo these 10mm bolts and pull them out. Yes, do that. Okay guys, just quickly, I forgot to mention, I've already taken one out, but it's a good idea to, can't really see it in here, but to number them. So starting from 1 obviously at the front, 6 at the back, like that. Just put a little number in them somewhere. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, coil packs removed. I'm not gonna mention that I dropped a bolt down there by accident, but it's okay, I managed to get pliers in and pull it out. So the next thing we're going to do is take off this cam cover. What we need to do is there's all these 10mm bolts the whole way around. I'm gonna leave these on here because fuck you, that's why. So yeah, let's get these undone. Also, before I forget, there's also 4 bolts in the middle holding it down, so 1 at each end. So that one's clear, but the other 3 have like earths to them, and that. So you need to get off, which I think is an 8mm nut, and then the 10 will be exposed underneath it. It's like a bolt that has a thread coming out of the head of it as well, and then that's what the nut goes onto. You'll see it when I take it off, or when you take it off. Right. Let's remove this cover. So yeah, it's just a case of literally, I'm just checking that I've taken them all out before I stand here struggling in front of you guys. I look quite ridiculous. So yeah. Once again, yeah, just remember it's a case of being gentle and prying stuff off. I feel like maybe there's a lot of instant gasket on this as well. No, there's not, to be fair. Oh, grim. Okay, right. Okay, I'm glad I'm taking this engine apart. Let me show you. This is very brown and so this should all be a shiny metal, like these carrier bits. The cams, these bit parts here, I don't actually know what they're called, but they're usually a darkish grey colour. However, the cam trays, like these bits here, and even that bit on the cam, should be like this kind of silver, like the rest of the thing. So yeah, that's pretty dirty. Also this Vanos section here, that, at least in the M50, wasn't black. Exactly, clean engines, by the way. Yeah, look, that, there we are, is coming through a bit clear. Yeah. Oh, I can scrape that off. Let's get a screwdriver and have a look. So obviously doing this gently. Ugh. That's built up. Okay, I'm wondering. I mean, I did think the exhaust ports did look pretty like built up as well. So I'm wondering what the pistons are going to be like. This has probably got like some well high compression. I bet there's loads of shit on the piston. So I'm going to be quite interested to see these. Okay, so that's it for today's episode, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I hope it's helped you if you're thinking of doing this. But I also quite hope that the videos that I'm making for this, where I'll be doing a bit of a series, I guess, because it's a long process, will be something you can just sort of sit there and watch. I know I found a few sort of YouTubers, car ones, that have things, even though I'm not doing that, or it's not even the car I have, I quite enjoy sitting there watching them take it all apart and stuff. So I'm hoping my videos are getting a bit like that. If they are, if they're not, please do leave a comment in the comment section below. I always do like a bit of criticism to see what I can do better, to make them better, to make you guys enjoy watching them more. I know I've already had a few people saying that they like it when I leave the sort of things when I mess up, or like the funny bits in, which is what I've always liked doing. It's kind of like my personality a bit, so it kind of seems weird and counterproductive, I don't know, to be editing them out. So I think I'm going to leave them a bit more like that. If you do have any more questions about other stuff, leave a comment, or head over to my Instagram page. I'm going to leave that in a link in the description. Message me on there, whatever. In part 2, the next one, I will be doing the stuff of the head. So that involves taking the head out, taking the cams out, the cam trays out, the lifters, taking apart the Vanos. I'm going to be rebuilding the Vanos on this. Done it on my M50, and it's something that's really, I would always recommend someone do it. It costs you about 70 quid. Around that, 70 to 100 pounds to do, and it does make a lot of difference. So yeah, stay tuned.